Okay, so I am joined today by my good friend Rena from ComputerCryptids, as many of you may know
Hello.
her from.
A plug in the promo.
So yeah, today we're gonna talk about our deepest fears.
Oh,
Just
and
some.
there are plenty.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I gotta remember it's your thing. Let me shut
No,
up.
no, go
Go on.
ahead. Just gonna say we're starting out, with a light topic. Just. I got a pretty long list here. I don't know about you.
Mine isn't necessarily long, but they're all things I could talk about for hours.
Sounds good to me.
Uh,
Do you hear that? That's my dog.
I do love it. Love to see it.
I knew this was gonna happen the minute I started. Okay, so I'm just gonna start this game here. I'm playing Night in the Woods because I don't think it's scary, but it deals with a lot of like more esoteric fears, which is I think mainly what I'm afraid of. And I don't know, are you?
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd say mine are all very intangible, like slice of life anime life lesson fears.
Yeah. A lot of mine are. I have some that are like more tangible, I guess, like spiders and bugs. Not a fan of dolls, puppets, clowns, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I definitely. Oh my gosh, I have a whole topic we can go on about friggin' clowns, dude.
Oh, let's go.
So, okay, when I was younger, I had so many friends who were scared of clowns that I literally pretended to be scared of clowns when I wasn't at all, not even a little bit. I would just pretend I was scared of clowns. I would go to like a circus with a friend and just scream if they screamed because they were scared of clowns. And I was like, I gotta be just like everybody else.
That's so interesting to me because you strike me as like I know you're not fearless, but you it seems like you come off as fearless in most situations or that you try
I
to.
Yes, I think what makes me unique with my fear compared to a lot of the people that I know is I am scared of absolutely everything. Like if you think I'm not scared at all times, I'm literally trembling constantly. I think I'm just and pushing through it no matter what that fear is. Like I'm super scared of the dark. You won't catch me in a haunted house, but I'm going to go in that fucking haunted house. I'm going to have a good time.
I am also scared of the dark. That's on my list.
Yeah, I think that was number 1 on my list.
I've been afraid of that since I was a kid.
It is. Scared of the Same. What do you think is the reason? Like, why are we scared of the dark? I guess it's like just a regular visceral fear, but like why?
I think it's like especially people who have like big imaginations, like I know both of
Mm.
us have, like you can just picture just about anything in the dark.
True,
Like I see
true.
any like movement of light in if it's like I have to sleep with my salt lamp on because if I see any like change in the shadow or anything, I'm just like,
Immediately like that's a demon, baby,
yep,
or a burglar. I'm going to die.
demon, ghost, murderer.
Yep, all the above. Oh my gosh, that's very 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 true. When we first moved into this apartment, be used to like sleeping alone in a while because I was always with Ben. So I wasn't really like I didn't realize how scared of the dark I still was until we moved here and I had to sleep alone. And I turned because I can't sleep unless it's pure black darkness. But I had to start sleeping with my Christmas lights on because it was a new environment and I was scared constantly of everything.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay if someone else was in the room, but I definitely can't sleep in the dark by myself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is something I had to learn about myself as a 27-year-old adult woman.
Yeah. I've made peace with it. I've been scared for so long. And alone for so long.
Oh, Erica. Not for much longer if you don't want.
Nah, it's alright. I'm used to it now.
That is a great segue into another one of my fears, the fear of being alone forever.
Oh, that's on my list too.
I don't like I know I'm not gonna be alone forever. I know I could find somebody and sucker them into loving me for the rest of my life, but like I need that real deep connection, and I'm afraid that I'm always gonna feel alone in that sense, if that makes sense. Do you feel the same? Is it
Oh
different for
yeah.
you?
No, it's the same. Like, because I know I have a lot of friends and people who care about me and like that sort of thing, but it's not quite the same as
Yeah.
like having that deep connection, especially with someone who's around you a lot. You know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's not like my relationship to you or anybody is less, it's just different. Like I'm looking for a specific emotional connection with somebody on a specific level that you can't feel that with everybody no matter how close you are.
Yeah, exactly. Like some people just click differently than others.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It doesn't make
Yeah.
them less or worse or bad or not good enough. It's just different.
Yeah. Oh, Rissa has pointed out in the chat that it's because we can't see, is why we're afraid of the dark. And also,
Yes.
serial killers go for 20-something-year-old women, typically. So,
Yes.
like, you're right,
But
Rissa.
usually in the shower, which is also funny because showers are something I'm scared of. Showers and mirrors, bathrooms, I guess.
Showers don't bother me, but mirrors, especially in the dark, scare me.
Oh, I don't like mirrors. It is literally, Marissa says, thanks, Psycho, fully because of like things like Psycho. I'm so scared of mirrors because one, just I don't like them. When I was younger, we had like a medicine cabinet that split up into like three different sections so you could open one bit. And it was terrifying being able to see behind me, but also being able to see to the left in the hallway of me. And I always felt like something was gonna just flash behind me or some shit. I didn't like that.
Oh, yeah, my parents
I
have
had
that in
a
their bathroom, too.
oh, I don't like it.
Me either.
I had like a fancy desk mirror that my dad bought me, and I used to literally like turn it around so it would face the wall or put like a shirt over it so that the mirror wasn't exposed just out of like a visceral fear. I have no clue where this fear came from.
I know a lot of people who cover their mirrors at night because, like, I don't know, there's a lot of stories of, like, I don't know, spirits or whatever getting
Oh,
trapped
yeah,
in
yeah,
them
yeah.
and that sort of thing. I know I
Like
have
the portal to hell kind of thing.
yeah, I have a
Yeah.
friend who said he used to see things in the mirror all the time, and he's a very
Oh,
spiritual
girl.
person in general, and he often saw spirits. But mirrors apparently are the worst offenders when it comes to that.
I kind of believe that because mine is like an inherent fear that I've had since I was a kid. Like, I have no clue where it came from or why it exists. It's always been something I've been scared of.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't start fearing them until my friend told me that story.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
why'd they tell you?
I we were just talking about spooky stuff. I love scaring myself too, which is horrible because
Oh my gosh.
what inspired this episode is the fact that I have 4 separate anxiety disorders and several phobias on top of that. But I
Do you
make
want to
them
go into
worse.
those?
We
Like,
don't.
break them down?
Well, some of my phobias are on my list. Clowns is definitely one of them.
So, where did clowns come from?
I know exactly where that came from. One time, I actually didn't get the clown fear until a little bit later. I think I was like 11. I was at a slumber party for a friend's birthday, and for some reason, she wanted to watch the original It with Stephen Curry, Tim Curry,
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
It, and that movie scared the bejeebus out of me. And we didn't finish it either, so I didn't know if they killed him or if he came back or any of that. So I was just living in this constant fear of murder clowns. I slept with my light on for like 2 weeks after that.
I feel like a lot of people, the original It is the reason they're scared of clowns.
Yeah. And I was growing out of that fear finally, because I had learned, like, Tim Curry played him, and I loved Tim Curry, and, like, that helped alleviate some of the fear.
Right.
But then they remade the dang thing with an actor
Oh,
I'd
and
never
they were
heard
pretty
of.
scary. Yeah.
And it was all over the place, and I couldn't escape it, and then I was afraid again.
That particular iteration of It, the newer one, just visually is so much more unsettling. The actor did such a good job, so I can totally see why it would rebirth your fear of clowns.
I was so close. I was almost free. But yeah, ever since then, and like, I think it's gotten worse since then. Like, I was rewatching Adventure Time the other day, and like, they have these nurse clowns in one of the episodes, and like, they kind of make them scary on purpose because Finn is also scared of them. But
Right.
like, that freaked me out so much I had to skip the rest of the episode. Yeah, clowns are a big one for me.
Oh, I had no idea that it was like such a strong contender for you.
I've always had.
Oh, you know what my like totally normal thing that I'm absolutely terrified of is to like maybe make it even here.
Sure.
Scared of wasps. Scared of them. Hate
not a
them.
fan.
Don't like them. Yeah. Like super scared. Run away screaming like a little girl. I've calmed down in my older years where I'm like I can at least stand here. Like my whole body's shaking, but I can be here. But it used to be like I would see one, hear one, smell one, I'm running for the hills immediately.
Yeah, I've never been stung by a bee or anything like that, but I have been bitten by a wasp. That's the only thing.
Ugh,
And that
same.
was the worst. It got me like right
Yep.
below my elbow in that little fleshy part. Oh, awful.
Dude, like on the elbow side or on the inside elbow part? I don't know what to call it.
Like the outer part.
Okay, okay. Because I got one in nearly the same spot, but it was the inside elbow part.
Oh, that sounds awful. That's way
It
more sensitive.
was. It hurt a lot. And I was like scared of wasps ever since. I was like, I will never be stung again as long as I live.
Ugh, I don't blame you. Awful. You know, oh, another thing that inspired this episode was actually you guys the other day playing your The Sims game where you created all those serial killers.
Oh yeah.
And I told you I was looking up like the stars of those movies while you guys were playing because I'm not a horror person for obvious reasons. Um but the more I was like just reading about Michael Myers and all that was enough to keep me awake for quite a while that night.
Oy vey. Why do it to yourself? Also, Rissa says a few things into chat. She says, the only clown I was afraid of was the Joker from Batman the Animated Series, but no other Joker scared me. Thanks, Luke Skywalker. And then she says, I high-fived a wasp and it stung me on the Everest ride.
Oh no! Are there wasps in that ride? Or is it like that one just got in there somehow?
I'm guessing one just got in there somehow.
Oh no.
Also, this game is very pretty.
Yeah, I think you should play this game. Like I said, this character reminds me of you a lot, and like a lot of the dialogue and the general feeling, it seems like something you would vibe with.
I fully agree, because it's like neon aesthetic nightmare / mystery / friendship / tragedy and emotion. And gaze, that's me. Okay, yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
When I was going down the big drop, and it flew right into my hand when I had my arms up.
Oh no.
You were saying?
That's it. So what else are you afraid of? If we want to get into like, the scary stuff, the big stuff.
I got one more little stuff, and then we can get into my, like, holy fucking shit, am I scared of these things? Trypophobia. Don't know why. I'm just one of the 50% or whatever.
Is that the clusters?
The fear.
I know another one of our friends who has that, and I will not say her name on the thing just in case she doesn't want people
Better
to
not
know.
to.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I've like started, I don't know, therapizing myself, or I'm like forcing myself to look at it. But it is literally such an instinctual fear that I didn't know I ever had until it like came up in media and everybody's like, haha, this is so funny. See if this makes you want to throw up. It made me so sick to my stomach. I have never experienced anything like that before, where I looked at something and it literally made me sick to my stomach to look at. And I couldn't understand why.
I don't know. I don't know why people feel the need to like spread the things they know trigger people's phobias either.
Because people are assholes. I can't tell you how many people I know who think it's just like funny. Like you literally can't tell them what you're afraid of because they will intentionally take those things and turn it against you. Which I was thinking about for this, which is another one of my fears, is being manipulated in any way and being vulnerable and having it used against me.
Ugh. Yuck. We can talk about that if you want, but I don't want you to get, like... I don't want you to have to talk about anything that would make you uncomfortable either.
Oh no, these are all on the list. I can't be manipulated anymore. I've become similar to Rissa in that I'm too fucking stubborn for people to put things on me anymore.
I believe that.
But, I don't know, we can go down the list. We could each go like me, then you, then me, then you, then me, then you, etc.
Sure.
So you go first, because it's your show.
Okay, one of mine is both a tangible thing and I think a more conceptual thing, is men. I'm pretty afraid of them.
Same! And, like, I don't want to be, because I feel like, I'm fairly masculine as a person, and I get along with men a lot, but at the same time, like, I don't fucking trust any of them. I don't like being alone with them, and unless you've been in my life for, like, 6+ years and you've passed the very, very strenuous test, like, I don't like you, I'm sorry, just off the bat.
Yeah, I don't want to be afraid of men, but I know too many personal horror stories and some not personal that, like, it's just, I'd rather not deal with it.
The fact that every woman alive on Earth right now, most likely, has a story of something that happened to them with a man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, no man, not no man, because men can get raped by women, and they can get raped, period. But I guarantee you more men that you know have been abused by men than they have been by women in their life. Like, even men can be scared of men sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's a legitimate fear. As I mentioned before, I'm kind of a masochist, so I've been watching a lot of true crime lately for reasons I can't fully explain. But yeah, it's almost usually men, not always, but I feel like it's harder to push women to the point of murder than
I
it
think
is
that's
for
because
men.
we're like literally conditioned to take more, and then men are like, you slighted me in the smallest of way. Now I'm gonna murder and or rape you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not a fan.
Which is irrationally scared of being irrationally murdered or raped.
Yeah, murder is on my list too. Well, death in general is on my list, but
Oh
specifically
well,
murder.
yeah, same. I don't know. I'm worried that I'll be like the target of a random act of violence that I just couldn't see coming and could have done nothing about it to avoid it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
That
the
scares the
worst.
shit out of me. And those kinds of acts of violence are usually men. Like, who's shooting up the damn schools? Who's shooting up the movie theaters? Who's bombing places? It's usually, nasty boys who were bullied or whatever their fucking backstory is. I don't give a shit. I didn't deserve to die because you had a bad day.
Yeah, like that whole like dying because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time thing is, ugh, that's the worst.
It's horrifying. Yeah, like to think that I was just going to school, minding my damn business, now I'm dead. That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. God, I'm so glad. Like, that's one of the few reasons I'm glad I'm not in school anymore.
Same. At least when we were going to school, we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, even in college, like, when I was a TA, like, it would have been my responsibility if there was a shooter at the school to protect my students, and I don't know how I would have done that. Like,
I think that's insane, putting, like, normal people in the position that they now have to basically do what law enforcement should have been doing the whole goddamn time. The correct way, mind you. It's to counteract school shootings. They're teachers. Half of them probably don't even believe in gun rights, first of all. Second of all, you don't pay them enough to fucking carry guns around. Third of all, they're civilians. They are civilians. Even if you train them for 2 years, who knows if they're going to know enough about how to use a gun, and who knows if they're going to be mentally stable enough to use that gun, and who knows if they're even going to be able to, like, hit the right people,
Yeah.
Let's say a teacher's having a bad day. Now the teacher goes fucking postal. You just armed a teacher, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I have known many a teacher in my life who probably should not have a gun, especially not one at school.
Exactly.
Just because they're a teacher doesn't mean they're all there, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, it
In
takes
fact,
2 weeks and $75 to become a teacher. That's it. Like,
oh my gosh. I mean,
At least
even
in
just
Florida.
with like the cases of teacher, is that for real? I didn't know it was like.
yeah, I'm actually getting my teaching certificate. I think you take like a test, but it's like to see if you know what subject you're talking about, and then you just
See, because I thought you'd have to have like some kind of college evidence that you know the damn topic you're talking about, but I guess that's just
Yeah. Well,
professors.
they want your transcripts, but like, see, they don't really count for much. Like,
Wow. So like I could go sign up to be a teacher right now today.
Yeah, probably.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's at
Well-
least in Florida. It might be different in other places, but
It explains a lot about our education system. There's another fear that all of our teachers are dumbasses.
yeah, it wasn't on my list, but I agree.
It wasn't on mine either. It is now.
Yeah.
Um.
Go ahead.
Do you want to do another fear?
No, you could. I just did men, and that ended up going on to gun violence and all that. So you could.
Oh,
you could
whoopsie. Okay, so I'm scared of, specifically, I think the two worst ways to die, I'm scared of drowning and being burned alive. Very specifically. Those are the two that I just don't think I could ever do.
Burning alive, I agree with, because that just sounds painful and horrific. I feel like drowning is supposed to be peaceful, but I mean, I haven't drowned, so I
Hell
don't know.
no way, dude. You're literally, your lungs are being flooded with water. I feel like there would be no pain worse than just suffocation.
Yeah, suffocation scares the hell out of me. I don't like the feeling of not being able to breathe.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. That's why my panic attacks get so bad, because the whole thing is that you don't feel like you can breathe, and then you get
Oh, yeah.
panic more.
Yeah. Dude, that shit will scare me real quick, and I'm sure it's the same for you, especially with all of your new fucking medical issues, where I'll just be like laying down and I think I'm totally fine, but then I start having a raging panic attack, and like my throat starts closing up, my heart's beating really fast, I'm like freaking the fuck out, and I literally sit there and I'm like, this is it, I'm dying, this is the end.
Yes, exactly.
It's over now. And it makes it worse.
Exactly. Like, I don't get panic attacks as much as I used to, thank God. But when I was getting them often, I was getting them like a couple times a week, and it was just, I'd be doing something totally irrelevant, like not anxiety inducing at all, but then I would just suddenly get the panic.
Yup. Oh my gosh, when we first moved in here, I started having really, really bad panic attacks, like insanely bad, because it was so much change at once, and I think that I wasn't mentally coping with it, so my body was like, well, if you're not gonna deal with it, we're gonna fucking deal with it, goddammit. So I would just start having panic attacks like every day, and I thought I was like literally dying. I was like, I'm having heart attacks or something. I don't know what's going on, but I have like an actual health issue. And then I had to like calm down and realize I'm literally making myself panic to the point that I think I'm dying.
Yeah, that was exactly the same for me. As it turns out, I do have some other health issues. We just don't know what they are. Ha!
Love that.
Yeah, love that for me.
I got a fear that could tie into that, but it's your turn, so go ahead.
What is next? Oh, specifically unsolved crimes. Terrify me.
Yes, the fact that somebody could get away with it for so long.
Yes.
And the fact that our system failed us in those cases.
Yeah.
Like, the people who probably had to turn a blind eye for it to go unsolved.
Exactly. Like, another thing with the true crime stories I've been watching is it's always, like, a lot of the time these cases go on forever, even though, like, at some point they had the person in custody or whatever, and the cops did something wrong, and then they get away.
Yep.
So they're still out there. But I also have this more irrational fear around them, like ghosts and shit. Like, we don't know that it wasn't a ghost or some kind of scary monster thing.
Interesting. Hadn't even considered that, because I usually don't combine the two topics together. I literally would have never thought of that. Now you've given me something else to be horrified about. Thanks, Erica.
It's what anxiety do. Like, it combines my two greatest fears, which are like horror movies, monsters that are pretty much invincible, and getting, you know, and the possibility that maybe they are real, because we don't know who killed these people.
You know, that is why I'm so scared of like ghosts and things, is because they're incorporeal. You can't touch them. How are you gonna fucking fight it? You can't.
Yeah, you can't punch a ghost. I've tried.
Literally. Like, I could sage the house, but there's no guarantee that ghost is gone. Like, what do I do? You can't. You're haunted now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rissa says I can punch a ghost.
Well, then Rissa can be our designated ghost puncher.
I think, you know, if the human mind is the strongest and we can invent whatever we want with our brain power, then Rissa really could punch a damn ghost.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe if anybody can, it's Rissa.
Oh yeah, for sure. Snack Falcon.
This is Greg, with 2 G's.
Greg. This guy?
Yeah.
Little orange boy?
Mm-hmm.
We love. Look at his little snoot.
I love him. He's so dumb and sweet.
Oh.
Look at his arms.
Greg's arms? Oh my god, they wiggle. Oh my god.
So what do you have next?
Oh, okay. So, I'm scared of the unknown, which also ties into my fear of the dark, I think, which is, like, I'm scared of just things that I don't know, whether it's as simple as, like, I don't know what's in the dark, or I don't know what the government's really hiding, or I don't know what's actually true. I don't know the purpose of the universe. I hate not knowing things.
Yeah, I hate it too. Like, that ties into one of my fears as well, which is, like, I don't know how to put it into words exactly, but that's part of my fear of dying, I guess. Like,
yeah, same, because I don't know what comes next.
Yeah, and, like, the whole idea of, like, infinity and all that, like, it's hard for my brain to wrap around it, so it's just scared of it.
Yes, same.
And, like, what happens when the universe ends and that sort of thing.
Yes! Oh my gosh, I think that's why I gravitated towards science so much, as opposed to just being, like, a spiritual person, because, like, I fully believe in all that witchcraft and shit. I'll lie to people, and if I don't trust them and I don't like them, or I know they're gonna say some dumb shit, I'll be like, oh yeah, I totally don't believe in that. Ha ha ha, zodiacs are dumb and fake, they're just fun. But I fully fucking believe it. I'm not gonna pretend, okay? But what was I saying? Where were we going?
Not knowing things, I think.
What was the last thing you said? Because it tied into what you said.
Something about what happens after the universe ends.
Yeah. So I think that's why I did start to enjoy science so much, is because I thought that they would give me answers to these questions. And then it made me realize that science has no fucking answers, dude. Science knows goddamn nothing about what happens next and where we're going in life. You just don't fucking know. So I think like that's why I did have to come back to spirituality, because I was like, if I don't have this, I'm just gonna start spiraling out every night thinking about the end of the world and where my body goes. And if I do die and there is a heaven, am I just in heaven forever? Am I just there forever now? Like, that's eternity? Do you know how fucking long eternity is? I had life for 100 years on Earth, probably less, and you're telling me I have to spend eternity in heaven, even if it's the greatest place in the whole goddamn galaxy?
Yeah, if you can't leave, it's still a prison.
Yes. Or even worse, if I go to hell and now I'm stuck in hell for eternity?
Yeah. And it's like, what could you have done on Earth that... Like, I know there are probably things you could have done, actually, but for most people, what could you have done on Earth that's so bad to warrant, like, an eternity being tortured?
Yeah, I don't vibe with that. I don't fucks with it, and I don't like it, which is why I like reincarnation and that kind of stuff. I think it's like the good answer to that fear of what comes next. Which is also it's the next item on my list, scared of death and not knowing what comes next anyways.
Yep. That's a big thing for me.
Super scared of dying, especially in my 20s before I've even done anything with my life. I think if I had done something I was proud of, I'd be okay to die no matter what comes next.
Yeah. I fully agree with that, because I feel like I haven't accomplished anything at this age. Which is another thing of my list, which is not accomplishing anything.
Yeah, fear of failure and success, that's on my list.
Yes! I'm so afraid!
Same. I always wonder where that comes from. Like, why is it that we're so scared of success we just choose to fail, but then we're also incredibly terrified of failure, so we put so much pressure to succeed, and then we end up failing because we put so much pressure on succeeding, or we get burned out to the point of, like, I don't know, crippling anxiety and depression because we have to succeed. You have to. And if you fail, it's not an option.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else, but I think a lot of my fear of success comes from, like, what happens to successful women typically, which is never usually good.
What do you mean?
Like, women who get famous for anything just get a lot of hate for no reason. Or, like, sometimes there'll be a reason, but it's never, like, proportional to how much people hate them. Like, I'm thinking specifically of, like, Rebecca Sugar and why people hate her for stuff she drew when she was, like, in middle school, or, like, because they don't agree with her interpretation of goodness and that sort of thing. And I, like, nobody cares, she doesn't get this, like, Pendleton Ward, who created Adventure Time, doesn't get the same criticism that, like, Rebecca Sugar gets for Steven Universe. Like, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I'm thinking to, like, YouTube drama in my context so I can understand it from my point of view, where it's like Jeffree Star's a man, even though he, like, is very agender, etc. on the spectrum, queer ally, whatever you want to fucking call. I wouldn't call him an ally, but I would certainly call him something. Where, like, he can get away with shit all the fucking time. They're suddenly canceled and not allowed on the internet for, like, the next 10 years. Why is that? Why do you keep forgiving this dude who's clearly terrible? He's clearly a piece of shit. But this woman who did something far less is banned from the internet forever. And, like, I genuinely don't understand how it's, like, why do we feel that way about women? Why is it? Because it is a gender thing. Even if we don't feel like it is, and I don't understand why.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. But I will say that's my biggest fear, like, as far as, like, success goes. I don't think I've done anything that terrible, but you never know what people are gonna get mad at sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god, I know it. Especially, like, Eric, I think you've got a pretty correct history as far as things go. Like, if people were to deep dive into you, I don't think they'd find that much. But, like, I think about me, and that's a fear of mine, is, like, if I get famous and people go through my past, who the fuck knows what'll pop up? I have no idea.
I don't know. I fear that people will find out, like, how I was in middle school. Like, I don't think I was a bad person, but I was certainly not a great person. And I was definitely a little weirdo who did things like people shouldn't do in public.
Held accountable for middle school. Well. But I don't know. I think being held accountable for your actions in middle school is insane to me. Like, I don't think, because middle school, everybody's not who they actually are, I think.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm definitely not the same person at all. Like the only similarity is like I still watch anime, and I'm still kind of weirdo, but not quite the same. I know how to act in public for the most part.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Like, I don't know, we've become better people, we've tried harder. You want to hold me accountable for what 12-year-old me did? Fine, I'll hold you accountable for what 12-year-old you did when you humped that pillow. We saw it.
Yeah, whoever this proverbial you is.
It's proverbially my brother.
Oh no.
But that little boy's a genius, so, maybe we should have been humping pillows. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean,
Okay.
there are certainly worse things.
Are you poking a dead arm?
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Oh, Rissa just said the same thing. Are you poking a detached arm?
Yep. There's been
She
a Moida.
also says a Moida. Oh, is that what this game's about?
Somewhat. Yes, but there's more.
Okay. Rissa says, Jeffree Star sell makeup that is high brand. Consumers are idiots. That's why it's easy to be an advertiser. People forget or love a product so much they ignore what the bad things the business peoples are doing.
Oh, that's so true. Capitalism.
She also says she enjoys the dial. Oh yeah, I fear the fucking what capitalism's doing to us. Is it your turn now?
Maybe. Sure.
Sure. Yeah, good enough.
Yeah, speaking of things doing to us, climate change is a big one on my list.
Oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah, especially since it's becoming more and more real by the day.
It should have been real 10 years ago. I think about that all the time where we like shit on Al Gore so badly that he became probably one of the original versions of a meme.
Yeah.
And he was right. And he was fucking right the whole time.
The whole world owes Al Gore a collective apology, especially South
And
Park.
he'll never. Single-handedly are the reason our generation was like, haha, yeah, Al Gore's stupid. Climate change is fake.
I blame South Park for like our generational apathy towards a lot of things.
No, I agree with that.
That's another episode.
Oh my gosh. Seriously. I remember hearing like 10 years ago, like, Florida's gonna be underwater in 10 years. And like, no, we're not underwater now, but shit's happening across the globe that you can't just pretend isn't happening. Literally, me and Rissa were talking about this the other day where it's like, she was saying around this time in Orlando, it gets cold, like 90 fucking degrees every day outside. It hasn't dropped at all. In fact, it's been notoriously hot.
Yeah.
And we had those fires going on. I mean, the ice shelf. Oh my god, when I read that on your Facebook, that was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know how much more real it can get.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what it's gonna take to get this through some people's heads.
I don't think. Here's what scares me. Here's my fear, is that some people are so willing to be brainwashed by the corporate goons who want to do their fucking agenda that we will never be able to convince them otherwise. I think we could all literally be on fire and you'd still have that group of people sitting there like, it's fine. I don't know why this is happening. It's like the second coming of Christ or whatever.
Yeah, it'll go away.
Yeah, yep. Like, people are way too, oh god. I think that's an American thing, a very American thing.
Yeah. Oh god. Climate change stresses me out. Now places are turning orange and red, and there's nothing we can do about it.
I know. I was reading, so I don't know if it's true, because I'm not there, obviously, and I haven't read any personal accounts from people who live there, but I've seen enough news articles to assume it's probably true, where the air has become so bad in places like Seattle, Portland, those kinds of areas, Washington area, where all this shit's happening. That like they have to wear these extra industrial masks, and they might have to wear 2 of them just to go outside, that they should be wearing them indoors at all times now, and that they should be wearing 2 of them if they go outside because the air is that bad right now.
Yeah, like, can you imagine people with asthma right now?
I couldn't fucking imagine it. Like, I couldn't imagine it at all. I feel horrible for the people who live in those areas, and knowing that our government isn't going to do a damn thing about it. Like, if it was up to me, we should be emergency evacuating those people and putting them in places in nearby, I don't know, safe areas, and then trying to do something about the damn fires.
Yeah. Trying to do something, period, would be, nice.
Yes, it's just, that's human lives. You're about to let all these fucking states just get wiped off the face of the earth?
Apparently.
I don't understand why.
It's so weird because, like, a lot of rich people live out there. That's like California, LA, like, a lot of rich and famous people.
Dude, I know. Washington literally is like one of the top places on earth where, like, that's like a programming central hub. It's huge. A lot of very wealthy people live out there in Washington because they love it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. California is insanely wealthy. Portland, at least, is pretty fucking wealthy. Like, those are... I guess Oregon has some kind of poor places, but it's starting to become pretty bougie too, like gentrified and all that. Like, those are pretty wealthy areas. Did you see what Tobo said? Would you like me to read it to you?
Oh, I can see it. We live in 2 different Americas. Yes, 2 different Americas. Yep. One in the real world, and one in which no one cared. Yeah. Angry and sad, that's me, and I assume most of us, and then
yes,
other people just pretending it's not happening, and I don't know how you get to that point. Because, like,
well,
oh, go ahead.
You have a lot of money. Turn on the news, but it's like television.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I'm an escapist fantasy person as much as anybody else, but I still understand that I don't actually live in, like, in Naruto world or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. I fully agree. There is a difference between, like, escapism, because I think for us in particular, people who are angry and sad, you have to have a form of escapism because we can't escape from this. We know we can't escape from it, and that's what makes it even worse. But it's the people who literally live in the fantasy where it's like, I've got the white picket fence dream. America's got my back. Ho, 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 ho. Everything's just fine. I'm gonna go get my hair done in the middle of this. I don't know, dude. I don't know. That scares me. Idiocracy. That idiocracy could become our real future. Used to be a fear of mine, and now it's a reality of ours.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that, like, that movie came out when all of the, like, not knocking Dax Shepard, but a lot of movies he's been in and movies around that time, like, comedy movies were, like, really stupid and pointless and didn't really have much to say. But that movie is, like, the one thing out of that whole era that was, like, on point.
Yup. Rod, I've even heard, but it's electrolytes in real life, unironically, in 2020.
Yeah, that one hurts me especially because I actually need electrolytes because I have, like, a salt deficiency or whatever.
Right.
I have to take that stuff to live, and then people make fun of me, and it's like, no, I have a condition. I know.
Well, if you have a condition, I get it, but, like, certain people are literally, like, drawn in by that kind of branding. Like, what drives me nuts is I'll hear people saying, like, oh, I'm drinking Gatorade because I need the electrolytes. Like, I know you fucking don't. I know how much sodium you be eating all goddamn day.
Yep.
Marissa says, let's make Civil War II happen. I think we're on the brink. I think that's another scary fear of mine is that we are on the brink. And would I be ready to heed the call? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I'd rather it not happen.
Split up America into 2s and just be done with it. Like, we all shake hands and agree, yes, we hate what you're doing. And they can be like, yes, we hate what you're doing. And then we just split up and go our own ways.
Yeah. I don't know how we would divide it exactly, though. Because, like, in the last one of these that I did, I was talking about how Florida itself is, like, such a weird, like, both conservative and liberal state, and there's a lot of places like that. So, like, I don't know, like, how we would do that. And people talk about just getting rid of Florida in general, but, like, you can't do that.
I don't want to, like, listen, I hate Florida as much as the next person. I live here. I know firsthand what it's like, but I live here. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. There's also just, well, for more information on that, please see my first episode. But, but yeah, I don't know, like, how we would go about even fixing any of.
So anyways, how about one of our next fears?
Sure, I think it's your turn.
Okay. Well, I don't know if my next fear is going to make this conversation any more lighthearted, but my fear is that it's the fear that this is all there is, that I can't break out of my chains no matter how much I work on myself or try to convince other people that this is just how it is forever now.
So, I have the same fear. Unsurprisingly, this is why we're friends. We're so afraid of all the same things. But yeah, basically, like, being stuck and not being able to help anything. And it sucks because, like, I spent a lot of grad school and even undergrad just learning about justice and, like, how to make the world better, but being completely unable to do anything about it because I'm not in power, I don't have any money, and I'm sick now, so I can't even go to protests or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know, I almost feel like being woke but being poor is the biggest curse that could have ever existed. Like, if you wanted me to just be poor and be part of the machine, why did you even let me have the freedom of thought? Why did you even let me have access to the information in the first place? Like, why was I allowed to understand and come to terms with? It feels even worse knowing that I can't break out of my, like, I am in a different class, and I never understood that that was a real thing for a really long time. Like, I am lower class. I'm a poor person. That's who I am. Even if it's not me, I'm not that person. I don't feel that way. I don't relate to that identity. That is where I am systematically in the world. It means that things are harder for me, period. Like, there are literally chains I can never break out of, not because I don't want to, but because that is how the system is designed.
Yeah. And, like, oh god. And it's not even, like, it's a class thing, yes, but, like, there's so many rules that, like, rich people make up so that they can tell when you're not part of them. Like, it's so much easier to, like, target poor people that way. Like, I was reading an article, like, that whole, don't wear white after Labor Day thing. That's a thing rich people made up to well, it's rich people made up to separate themselves from other rich people. It was, like, people with old money separating themselves from people with new money.
Interesting.
Like, it's wild.
That makes a lot of sense because I always wondered why, like, wealthy people hold on to status so much, and it would make a lot of fucking sense if they set up, like, tradition and status quo as a way to weed out poor people. Because I have a friend who you've all heard me mention a dozen times who comes from, like, wealthy elite a little bit, and I always wondered why he had such a hard time coming to terms with our friendship until I realized that he comes from money and they literally have a different way of fucking thinking. Like, he does look down on me because of the way that I am, because that's how he was told to think of it, because they do separate themselves. They are looking to stay in the same bracket or whatever, and they do think of us as less, even if they don't think it.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate rich people. That's
Same.
not a fear, that's just a strong distaste for...
God damn it. I have a fear the purge could become real.
I think you could be right. I mean, it basically is. Rich people can get away with anything at any day. Like,
that's true. They don't need the purge. They've got it every day.
Yep. They can do...
I would be more scared if the purge was real because I would be scared of, like, middle class America who, like, thinks that they're gonna become rich one day, but they aren't. They have no idea how they would take it out on everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, what's your next fear, Erica?
Let's see. Oh.
Also, I'm gonna go grab a drinky drink real quick.
Oh, go ahead. I have to remember what I'm supposed to be doing here anyway.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Hello.
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 Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. Actually, I'm gonna mute my mic while I do this coffee transfer.
Ooh, coffee. Well, my next fear is a more recent one, but it's getting worse by the day, and that is agoraphobia.
Ah.
I am having...
Please go on.
I am having a very hard time leaving my house.
So, okay, I have some questions about this, because I had a friend, Juju, if you ever remember her.
Yeah.
She had really bad agoraphobia, but it was like, I literally never understood it. I thought it was just like a fear of going outside or things. But she was like, no, I literally can't go to college sometimes because there's too many people there and it scares me. So like, what is it for you?
So
When did
yeah,
it come about? What triggers it? Well, I know
so
what triggers it, but you know what I
yeah.
mean.
In my case, it was like having all my illnesses and just being worried something will happen to my house, um, or whatever my illness is, because like I get dizzy and I get lightheaded and like I'm just worried something will happen to me and like this also ties in. I'm afraid to drive. Like I've always been afraid to drive, but even more so now because I get like lightheaded and dizzy and like
And
I
you're afraid that you'll just like pass out at the wheel or something.
pretty much. So like I can't drive anywhere alone for sure, but I also can't go anywhere alone and even with other people sometimes it's just too much. Like my dad wanted me to go to Michael's with him like yesterday cuz he needed to get something and I was like he asked me if I wanted to go and immediately my blood went cold.
Jesus.
Like just thinking about it. I had to leave the house the other day to go to the bank or something and like on the way there or right after I was getting like dizzy and a little disoriented and I was with my dad and like I started crying on the way after we left because I'm just like get so frustrated with being out there and not feeling well and that sort of thing that like I don't want to leave my
Right.
house.
It's just, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I can go outside sometimes. I don't like going out in the sun, if that makes sense. I like it's not even like it's hot, but that's not the thing. It's like it's too bright because it feels too open, if that makes sense either. But like I'm more
I see.
okay.
So it makes the space feel like even more overwhelming in a sense because you can see for bajillions of miles.
Yeah, and it's like that. Like I can go for walks when it's kind of dark, like not dark cuz still a woman, but
Because
like
then that's scary too.
yeah, it's a different fear. But like I can kind of go for walks just around my neighborhood as long as I don't leave like the development and like I'd prefer sometimes I go with my dad when we're walking the dog, but that's about it. Like I can't really go farther than that. And I feel really
Hmm.
bad cuz like everyone wants me to come hang out and like do things and like not right now cuz pandemic, but like
Right.
everyone keeps talking about like when the pandemic is over and it's like I don't know if I'm going to be okay by then. I mean, I don't know when that is. Nobody does. But
But that doesn't mean that your agoraphobia is just going to go away overnight, essentially.
yeah, because it's not related to the pandemic. It's related to my own health issues. Pandemic's not helping, but
Well,
but yeah,
well, I don't know. I think if you just, it's not fair that you have to explain this over and over again, but I think as long as you remind people of that, like, it is going to get frustrating, I'm sure, especially with our friends, and like, we forget shit constantly. You got to remind us all the time. But, just keep reminding us and we'll get the hint. It's not your fault that you feel this way. And if we don't understand how it works, like, you shouldn't take on the guilt of not going out just because we don't understand. That's not fair for you.
I thank you. I appreciate that because it's a lot. Like the last two times I've had to leave the house, I ended up crying a lot because it was just too much for me.
I mean, I'd rather you don't feel distressed and mortified than come fucking see me. I think that would be incredibly selfish of me to be like, you need to put yourself in a very uncomfortable position because I want to see you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta hear it, I guess. As for how to get over it, fuck if I know. Hopefully you're not prisoned forever like that.
I hope not either. I think I need, well, I know mainly what I need is to figure out what is wrong with me
Right.
and then probably a lot of therapy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'll be, goddamn, that'll be it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope you find out what's wrong with you sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I was talking to my doctor and my primary care, and she was saying like, I think you might have endometriosis, but sometimes the average time it takes to get that diagnosed is 2 years.
Jesus.
And that's the average time. I know another
But
one of our
why?
friends who has it, who it took much longer, and that's because the only way to diagnose it is to cut you open and put like a camera in there and find the tissue that's overgrowing. And they don't want to
shit.
cut you open unless they're like fairly certain that's what you have. But they also don't listen to women when they tell them this is what I think I have, so who knows?
Bro, that's very fucking real. I remember I've told you this story, but I have a fear of hospitals and doctors because I've literally told them, like, when I'm going through something, what my symptoms are, and they'll be like, oh, it's just gas. And then I'll come back the next fucking to a different hospital, and they're like, yeah, you have gallstones, and also your kidneys might be infected with a UTI. And it's like, funny that the other guy told me it was just fucking gas.
Yeah, doctors, especially like women of color, are they have a hard time listening to women. Period. But like,
Oh, you're just a dumb idiot. You don't know anything.
yeah.
I'm a good white doctor. Believe me.
Like when I was first having all these health problems, they just kept telling me if it was anxiety, which like I do have anxiety, as I've mentioned quite a few times now. But like I was also seeing a therapist, and she's like, I am very familiar with anxiety. I'm a therapist. What you're experiencing is not an anxiety symptom.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a mental professional skilled in the art of anxiety would know that best, but what do I know? Like, doctors, you don't fucking know what the hell a mental disorder is. I'm sorry, you were not trained in that. You do not recognize that. Just because you don't know what it is doesn't mean it's this thing that you don't understand.
Yeah, like whenever they would tell me it was anxiety, I felt like a woman in the Victorian era being told I was just hysterical. Like,
Oh, yeah, kind of. That's what it feels like.
yeah.
I almost feel like doctors don't want to admit that they don't know something. So instead of being like, hey, I don't actually know this, let me like try to send you to somebody more qualified to handle this problem at my office.
Yeah, they
Poof, poof.
incapable of saying like I'm not qualified to handle this or I'm not the person to handle this.
Yep.
God, complexes.
You know, which is how Kissa ended up getting her diagnosis, is because she finally found a doctor who was like, listen, I don't understand this, but here is a doctor that I know that I can refer you to who is specifically in the field of like whatever her deficiencies were, and maybe they can help you. And that's the only reason she got a diagnosis, is because one doctor said, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Can you imagine what would happen if more people, especially in the medical field, admitted that they didn't know what was happening?
I know. You don't have to be a beacon of hope for everybody. Sometimes you don't know everything. I don't know how you possibly could. There's so many diseases and illnesses and shit out there. Like, it's fine if you don't know it all. What's that thing?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of doctors, but they do make me angry.
I'm afraid of them. They have you... well, I guess not necessarily doctors. I'm afraid of nurses, dude. Super afraid of nurses. Because they have your life in their hands. They can do whatever they want. Fuck, we were watching, me and Marissa were watching Dexter, and there was literally a nurse who was overdosing patients to, like, send them off to a peaceful sleep because she thought she was helping them. That's terrifying. You have my sick little body sitting in a hospital. Like, I'm so vulnerable in those moments. You could do whatever you wanted to me. You could kill me for all I fucking know.
Oh, I know. And then, like, not a lot of nurses, but there have been several throughout history that have used that power to just kill people. Like,
it was such a common phenomenon at some point that they literally coined a term. They're called angels of death.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I understand that. Like,
For shit, I've heard stories of nurses stealing babies, like freshly born babies.
That's really scary.
No, that shit's scary, dude. I don't know. Or just straight up the apathy that sometimes nurses go into with having these kinds of things. Like, not to blast Riss's mom, but like, she doesn't fucking believe that the coronavirus is as big of a deal as it is. And it's like, you're a nurse, lady. Like, come on.
That's really scary.
They're literally making you dressed up in a biohazard suit, complete with like all the nines. Like, you look like a scene from Stranger Things, and you're telling me it's not as bad as you think it is?
I don't understand that at all. See, now I'm a little afraid of nurses and doctors.
Sorry.
No, I think this is good though. Like, when I was first talking to a therapist about my many, many anxieties, I had two separate therapists tell me, like, sometimes anxiety is good because it tells us when something is wrong or could potentially harm us. And I think what can potentially harm us is good. If that makes sense.
That's true. I think the world looks scarier and darker the more that you know about it, but I agree. If you don't know it, how do you know to avoid it?
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't live your life in fear trapped in your apartment, but, you know, at least keep your eye out for that dude who might be a fucking serial killer. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Like,
okay, is it your turn for another fear, or what were you saying?
it might be. How much longer do you want to go? It's already been an hour or so.
Oh, it's up to you. Whenever you're done, it's fine.
I have so many on this list. Maybe not all, maybe I shouldn't do all of them. Um,
It's up to you. It's your little stream. I'm having a fun time.
let's see. Maybe like 15 more minutes. So,
Okay.
all right. I would say so I'll just biggest ones, I guess. Which would be my next biggest one would be homelessness. I am terrified of, probably tied into my agoraphobia, but like I also know I'm the kind of person where like if I ended up in that situation, I don't think I'd be able to know like how to get out of it.
I don't think that homelessness is as bad as you think it is, because I've been there before, so like that's not even a fear to be even on a small front, because like I've been there. I know I could survive it, and I think anybody could if you had to. It would suck, don't get me wrong, it doesn't feel good, but it's literally, it's not as bad as out there than people think there are. That isn't to say that there's enough, or that, you know, they take care of you for that long, or that they don't make you feel like shit, but like I think that homelessness feels more terrifying than it is. I mean, that's not to say like you have a lot of ailments. I don't know if you would enjoy it whatsoever.
I don't think enjoy is the right word.
Like I didn't enjoy it, but like, you know, the human mind, the human psyche, the human capability is so fascinating, so unbreakable. Like if you have to, you will survive it. And I think that once you've experienced like homelessness, you become afraid of absolutely goddamn nothing.
Yeah. I imagine that like it's hard to be afraid of anything else after that point, after getting to your lowest.
Yes, fully. I mean, like, Missouri was horrible, but it shaped me, and I'm always thankful for at least that. Like, it was terrible. I never want to go through it again. Absolutely nightmarish, but it gave me a lot of life experience that I couldn't have gotten anywhere else.
So I guess that's something.
You gotta take something from it, otherwise it was just a horrible time.
Yeah.
That's such a specific memory.
I'm sorry.
What makes you scared of homelessness? Just like I don't know.
For me, like a lot of it has to do with my health stuff. Like I won't have access to like a doctor, and like I won't be in safe conditions that like
that's very true.
Sleeping outside in Florida is like not a good time, or really anywhere, but like it's so hot even at night here. There's so many crazy people out there.
That's very true. I used to, when I was like a little runaway asshole kid, not asshole kid, I was, you know, acting out in an environment that was very unhealthy. When I would run away from home and I would like sleep on playgrounds with my old friends, yeah, that was definitely it. It was like, it would get really hot and sweaty and gross. It'd be like, don't come near me, friend, because, you know, it's too hot. But then it was at the same time, like, we have to stay near each other because we're scared somebody's gonna come up to us in the middle of the night at a fucking park.
Yeah. Like
especially young girls at the time who you know damn well to us.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not safe to be homeless regardless of anything else, but it's like much worse if you're a woman and younger. And yeah.
Yep. That's how you get pulled into Jeffrey Epstein's sex cult.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another one of my fears: fear of cults and being manipulated.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I think I'm smart enough to avoid getting suckered into a cult, but I never know because I haven't been in that situation before.
I'd like to warn anybody who may or may not be listening that you are not too smart to be tricked into a cult. I think like people like Rissa, who are way too fucking stubborn to be convinced to go against their own beliefs, won't be inducted into cults. But like if you're smart, if you're really smart, but you are emotionally you aren't confident in yourself as a person, like you don't know who you are, it is super easy to get inducted into a cult. Because I was manipulated to high hell from like Andrew and them. Like I always wondered, because I feel like I'm pretty smart. I don't think I'm stupid at all. Like what would you say? Do you think I'm a dumb person?
Absolutely not.
But they used the fact that I was lonely and had no concept of self and identity to convince me to stay with them. He did not use how dumb I was or how smart I was. He actually used how smart I was against me. He was like, yeah, Rena, you're really smart. You're so talented. I don't understand why other people don't see it. You should just quit college and come live with us because this is the life you always dreamed of. Literally, he would take everything that I ever said to him, vulnerability-wise, and turned it into a weapon against me. They use your vulnerability against you, and that is why I am scared to open up to people.
Oh, God. Yeah. Like, you were saying, like, you don't think you're a dumb person, and I would agree with that 100%. But, like, one of my fears is that, like, I'm actually a lot dumber than people think I am.
I think you're smarter than all of us, but go on.
Well, other people would call it imposter syndrome. I just call it being an imposter. I just feel like I've tricked everyone into thinking I'm a lot smarter than I
I
am,
feel
and
like
someday...
everybody who's like above average intelligence has imposter syndrome. Like none of us feel like we deserve it. Like it's yeah,
Yeah.
which is insane to me. You literally have a college education that proves that you're smarter than half the people on Earth.
I don't know if proves is the right word.
Well, okay, it's a quantifiable level of intelligence, and you didn't cheat to get it.
Yeah, I still feel like I've conned everybody somehow. I'm not sure. But, like, that's one of my fears, is, like, people thinking I'm stupid and then being right.
Oh.
uh,
I don't even think I totally understand that. Definitely one of my fears is just the projection that other people have of me. Like, am I really who I think I am? Because, like, I've done a lot of work to the point to like myself, like, without feeling like I'm being narcissistic or incorrect. But, like, you really never know. You really never know who you are at a certain level. Like, I have a pretty good objective view of me, but if enough other people think that I'm an asshole, then I'm an asshole, right? I don't think I'm an asshole, but if like 17 people say I'm an asshole, then I'm kind of an asshole, whether I feel like I am or not, right?
yeah, I don't know, because, like, I don't know. We could have another whole episode on, like, what the self is, and that probably will be another episode, actually. But I don't know. Because, like... Do you remember in BoJack Horseman, I think it's in the first season, where Diane's like, I don't believe in deep down, I think you are, like, all that you do. Like, you are your actions, basically.
Yes.
I think it's that, and I think if you haven't done anything really to make you seem like an asshole, but people still read your intentions, then you're probably not. I think sometimes people just are poor interpreters, and if you've been in an English class at any point, you probably know that.
I think that's why it's so important to discover yourself and your true intentions and all that stuff, because like then you will be able to differentiate between when somebody's misreading you and when you're actually doing the wrong thing. Brenton actually was one of the people who first told me that, essentially, where I was like, I feel like I'm a really bad person and like everybody just thinks I'm a good person. Like I'm just tricking everybody. And he was like, do you always do the right thing? Are you always putting your best intention forward? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you ever do the bad things you think about? And I was like, no. He was like, then even if your head says that you're an asshole, a terrible, horrible human being, you're not, because you're not doing those horrible things. You are actively choosing to do the right thing every time. And that has stuck with me for like the rest of my goddamn life.
Exactly. Like, people who have, like, intrusive thoughts and all that, like, they can't help that, but, like, they're not doing those awful things. Do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because, like, I'm afraid of mind readers for that reason, because I think some weird-ass shit.
Oh, my God. We were having a conversation about that, where Rissa was like, I would love to read people's minds so I can know what they're really thinking. I was like, I would absolutely fucking hate that, because I have days where I think everybody hates me, and I'll start thinking some nasty-ass shit about people, and it's like, I don't really feel that about anybody. Like when I was dating Ben, I'll start thinking, this guy's a fucking asshole. He hates me. He's a fucking piece of shit who's always just trying to use me and hurt me and blah, blah, blah. And I'll have those thoughts for like 5 minutes. And then I'll calm down and be like, wow, I don't feel that way. That's my mental illness, fear of abandonment, et cetera, that's like infecting my mind. I would hate for people to read that shit, because that is not how I feel.
Yeah, like, a lot of my, like, thoughts that I have, like, my first thoughts and reactions to things are not how I actually feel about anything.
Yes. Yep.
They're just instinctual things that have been, like, burned into me from society or whatever the hell, and my own anxieties, and, like, that's not truly how I feel about a lot of things.
Yeah, I think you and I had a conversation about that one time, where it's like your first gut instinct reaction is like, it's like that, the instinct reaction. It's not the one that you want to have. It's the second reaction after that where you go, wow, that was kind of fucked up. You need to calm down, me. That is like the real reaction.
Exactly. It's like how you respond to your thoughts, I think, is who you are more.
Yes. I also think that those kinds of thoughts get less and less over time the more you react to those thoughts and go like, you need to shut the fuck up now, brain. Like, that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I still have intrusive thoughts all the time, but it certainly has gotten a lot better, just talking nicer to myself.
Yeah, and, like, that's something you can work on, too. So, like, even if you... How do I put this? Like, even if you think those bad thoughts are you, they're not.
Yes,
And like
exactly.
it takes work to learn the difference between what you really think and those things, because I think a lot of people who haven't done that work probably think that those thoughts are who they really are and they hate themselves for it, but like it's
Yep.
not.
That's one of my fears is that people will never get over that kind of shit. They're always going to be stuck thinking they are those original thoughts and that's all they'll ever be. And it's like, you don't have to be that person. That's what healing is. That's what forgiveness is. You just need like an actual support system of good friends who will love you, and help you recognize the goodness in you. And you need like therapy, 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 therapy.
Yeah.
And you need to take yourself out of toxic environments. Like if your parents are a factor for the reason you fucking hate yourself, get away from them. If it's that toxic group of friends from high school are making you feel bad about yourself, get away from them. And then yeah, I don't know. Like when I started talking to you guys more, when I started, re-engaging with like you, Rissa, Alyssa, Tobo, that whole group, it made me feel a lot better because you guys actually treated me with kindness and compassion, and we just like support each other and we love each other, and it's nice. Whereas when I was friends with Sujin and those kinds of people, they're operating from like the ego and the id to a point that it destroys you and your way of thinking, whether you even notice it. It's like so subtle, but it's affecting you deeply and profoundly.
Yeah, like other people's energy is a big, yeah. Who you
Yeah.
surround yourself with is really important.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. Also, I think we did the 15-minute mark. If you want to stop or if you want to keep going, I don't know what you want to do.
I think this is a good stopping. Starting to get to a spoilery area of this game anyway, and I don't want to give it all away. Um,
Okay. Excellent. Thank you for having me. I had so much fun, and I can't wait to do this again. I love talking to you, one of my favorite
Thanks.
conversational partners of all time.
Mine too. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you
Um,
so much.
there are many topics we discussed that we can have more episodes about, and I'm excited to do them
Yeah.
with you also.
Oh yes, me too.
Would you like to plug anything?
Absolutely. Follow us at Computer Cryptids. I'm totally gonna send the link in the chat.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it. I don't care about anything else I do in
Yeah.
life.
And when I put this on YouTube, I will put a link to your channel in the description as well.
Thank you very much. Hello, YouTube.
All right.
I would like to ask one last question before we go,
Sure.
which is, how many fears do you have left that you didn't list off? Like, what is the
Um,
number?
Let me count real quick. I think I got to most of them. At least I alluded to most of them. If I didn't go into like detail, um, uh, I would say around 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had 2 left, and I definitely did mention both of them at some point.
Yeah, I mean, some of them we talked about. Some of them you can probably guess based on some other things, but like some other things were like pregnancy scares me um a lot.
Oh God, there.
Airports scare me, but not airplanes. Um
Weird, but I get it. I get it.
yeah, and a couple other things, but that's about it.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for having me. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye
Bye
bye.
y'all.